So when we look at all this, we proceed to the next. How do we do a SWOT analysis for this type of a firm? What is the strengths of this firm? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities that are available to a firm like this? So if you look at the types of strengths, its presence is in 142 countries. That is 2013 data. So it might have increased much further by 2018. So very strong financials. So it has a very good financial base in the core banking system, can give good financial solutions. It has unique and beneficial strategic relationship with Oracle. So Oracle was keenly looking at iFlex right from the beginning, its offerings and all that. Ultimately bought over iFlex. So high value products like FlexCube, 100% focused on banks and financial services. It is not into any other field. So it is concentrating on BFS, totally into BFS. So these are the strengths of this firm. And when you start looking at this firm, you will only admire the courage of this group which started this Citl, then became iFlex, came out with such wonderful products again. Then what are the weaknesses of this firm? One of the strong weakness of this firm is as of 2013-14, it was not having great presence in the United States. So any global firm, especially a software firm, to make its global presence felt, it must and should have a presence in US. So because US is the number one leading country in all these types of services in the world. So here this iFlex was having minimum presence. Possibly by now, due to its getting taken over by Oracle, its presence in US might have improved substantially. So the other aspect of iFlex, if you want to call it a weakness, sometimes you may try to say why it should be termed as weakness. But you are depending on one aspect very much. That is, iFlex was dependent on exports only. 96% of its revenues were coming from exports. So it was basically a financial services product industry making its revenue through exports. So to that extent, you can call it a weakness. Then what are the types of opportunities that you can have for a firm of this nature? One of the great opportunities which it can have is to insurance, the area of insurance, for which this company has tried to get in already. The second one is this fast growing data warehousing business. This was yet to be tapped by this company at that point of time. So it would be interesting for you to look at this S, W, O and T, whether they remain the same or whether there are some changes in 2018-19. So this was in 2013-14. This was the way you could do a SWOT analysis for this firm, and it would be interesting for you if you attempt this same analysis in 2018-19 to find out how is this, whether all these S, W, O and T remain the same or have they changed. The next one was spend driven by key trends. What is this spend driven by key trends? What is this? This is your big data, mobility, cloud, all this making you. These are the key trends. This is this big data, mobility and cloud. They contribute to this key trends. Spend driven by key trends. So these are the ones which are providing the opportunities. So you are getting into big data. Your getting into big data itself is a big opportunity which the company can tap on. Then what are the types of threats? Any firm which puts out a product into the market, which I have discussed so many times, lends itself vulnerable to imitation. So the product becomes vulnerable to imitation. So when it becomes vulnerable to imitation, the threat is that of substitute products being offered in the market at a lower cost to capture the market. That is, capture the market share. So whether it is IT services or whether it is a product in any other type of industry, manufacturing or whatever, if you put a new product into the market, you are always exposed to the threat of getting imitative or getting the product getting imitated by your competitors. So when they imitate this product and are able to come out with substitute products at a lower cost, your market share, that is the company, original company's market share, gets affected substantially. So in fact, just to give you an instance, back in the 80s, IBM was the leading computer manufacturer. So IBM 360 was considered to be one of the top end processing machines in the world. So at that time, the Soviet Union, now Soviet Union has got split. Now Russia is the major this thing. It was the USSR. It wanted to break this dominance of IBM. So come out with its own computers in the market. So what did they do? They took this IBM 360 and did what we call the reverse engineering. So ripped open the whole system, came out with a substitute which was very similar to the IBM 360. So because USSR was a powerful country, next only to the US then, it started exerting pressure on other countries to buy this product, to try at least this product. One of the countries on which it exerted pressure to try this product was India also. What is the type of incentive it gave to a country like India? It said, why do you want to buy from IBM? We will supply a similar product like what you are looking for from IBM at no cost. That is, you don't have to pay anything. The only thing that we want from your side is that your programmers will be assisting in solutions for problems in USSR. So at one point of time, there were 80 computer professionals solving problems of USSR in return for this type of computers. Okay. Now the most important point. This is a computer which is based on the lines of this well-known IBM product developed by this rival country. But when developing this product, one error happened. What is that? The processing time in this computer developed by USSR was at least 10 times more than that of the IBM. So if you could solve in 1 minute a problem in IBM, here you would require 10 times, that is 10 minutes, to solve the same problem. The second aspect which people noted, that is the computer professionals noted, was they took a lot of efforts, painstaking efforts to develop programs, then run on this computer. Sometimes it used to give wrong results, and these results had drastic implications for the end user. For example, for one of the states, when it was asked to computerize the matriculation exam results at that point of time, that is the late 70s, due to some error in this processing, what happened was, it was a great mistake which happened. That is, good students got low marks. That is, students who had done well in the exam got low marks thanks to this imitated computer from USSR, and students who had not done so well got very good marks. So a reversal had taken place, and this was a great heartburn for many of these merited students from a particular state in India, and many of them committed suicide also. So this is the type of drastic implications you can have when you try to imitate the product of a leading producer just by this method of reverse engineering, that is ripping open the product and trying to come with an imitated product. Somewhere you are likely to make some errors which can prove very costly. So this was a real instance which happened, and its effects were felt in our country only. So what is the implication? So those substitute products for FlexCube, you can still find them. The banking system should be very wary of using such products, because one small error can prove to be very costly. This is the first one, the threat. The second threat is, you have some well well-established firms like Infosys, TCS, SAP, they can give a very strong competition to iFlex. So in fact, at that point of time only, Infosys had come out with Finacle, its financial offering to the market, and Finacle is also used by a number of banks and very successfully in the Indian market. One of the banks which is using it on a day-to-day basis on an extraordinary scale, and where it has made a very good mark, is the ICICI Bank itself, which uses the Infosys offering. So the other threat which I just mentioned is the imitation of product. You can see how this product is functioning, whether you can imitate this product, all these types of things. The fourth threat is low growth due to global economic conditions. That is, suppose the global economy is not growing well, let us say. That is what is happening in the present day. Then it is going to affect the growth of these types of companies also. That is the revenues of these companies also. It is also likely to come down. Okay. So this is what we are seeing in the present day due to this economic slowdown globally. Okay. So there was, if you saw some newspaper media announcements, that in the next year there is likely to be a cut in jobs, IT jobs. Why the cut in IT jobs? This is because of this global economic slowdown. So this is the type of analysis that you should be doing for a firm of this nature. So this gives you a wonderful base to analyze the firm.